Well, after revisiting the amazing series that is Aliens, I came across the most interesting of the lot, I would call. Most hated as well by a large margin. Most people say it's a shitty movie. But I'm here to say that this is a movie very much worth revisiting, especially if you love xenomorphs as much as I do. It's a very unique film. It's a film that just kind of comes out of nowhere, and the upbeat tone of the second movie does not translate well into the overwhelming dread of the third movie. Now, I have thoughts on this movie very much so because I love all my xenomorphs. And if you're into the xenomorph biology, this is an interesting case study on a very interesting xenomorph. And that xenomorph is, of course, the Runner, also known as Dog Alien, Ox Alien, or the Dragon, or just Scout, or many different forms. The unique xenomorph, for sure, that comes from a host animal that shows as an ox. I'm pretty sure I thought it was a dog. Maybe that's because they call it the Dog Alien. I used to think it was so fascinating that there were multiple different types of xenos, and this is a movie that's as relevant now as it ever has been. But believe it or not, one of the most fantastic elements of Alien 3 is actually the performance of Ellen Ripley, Sigourney Weaver herself. She's fucking incredible in this movie. She has everything that could go wrong for her goes wrong for her, and her spirit and strength stays strong, and her character and intelligence is on full display. Now, Aliens 2 is very much the superior movie. It's high spirited, it's very action packed, it's got tons of xenobiology in it, and it's just, in general, one of the best movies ever made. But at the same time, when you go and you isolate Alien 3, it starts to become pretty good. They're on a prison planet, there's no escape, these people are evil criminals. Combining that with a new species of Xeno is a fucking amazing concept, and I liked it. It was a brazen move. I probably would have gone for having more of a colonial marine style Alien 3, maybe including them more in it. But this movie is good on its own merits, and it's a fantastic entry into the aliens mythos. There's just something about this alien is very creepy, and its lurching movements and its very terrible CGI at moments make it kind of a unique viewing creature. It really is the type of alien that is it's very quick. It does all kinds of things that you don't expect, like camouflage and whatnot. And it's a very unique xenomorph, and it's, as a case study into xenos, it's compelling. Now, I will highlight the bad aspects of this movie because it's certainly a movie that people don't like and consider it a bad movie. And while I wouldn't call it a bad movie, I find it a very interesting movie because I love sci-fi and xenomorphs, and it has both of those in it. But there are some aspects of this movie that people are really going to hate. Number one being some of the CGI at times is just horrible. And I would love to, if there was just like, I don't know what the legal ramifications are out there, but if there was some graphic artist out there that would just fix it, it would be pretty good because there's plenty of amazing practical effects in Alien 3, and just kind of mind-boggling how they tried to do CGI. They should have just done all practical effects, and it really shows its ugly face. Now, another thing about this movie that is very disliked, it's just overall icky feeling. I mean, it's a dark, depressing slog through just some of the worst conditions you can imagine. It's a place you really don't want to be, and I think that's so amazing that Ripley ends up in a place like that, and so to speak, kind of rises to the top and does the hero role again. But yeah, I think this movie is just generally disliked because icky convicts bullshit like that is just leaves a sour taste in your mouth all the way through. And also, it cannot go without mentioning of the just terrible, shitty fate that Hicks and Newt face. I mean, even Bishop. It's just like these characters you wanted to live. And I mean, I wouldn't even care if they went so far to say that they cloned those two back somehow, and now they're just around. But alas, the actors have all grown older. Um, maybe I don't think it'll ever happen. But the fact that those two legendary, awesome characters got killed in such a not very feel good way, it's not great. And I don't know, maybe they were going for the grim darkness of the future like this, but I would have kept them alive. Maybe they get rescued and Ripley's there or something. But to see what happens to these two, especially the scenes when you get to see Newt's lifeless corpse, it really, 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 really is a sour element of a movie that's already drab and dark. But despite those negatives, it's certainly a great watch, and especially doing a Xenomorph run, you get all your favorite ones. I like Resurrection for what it is. It's a funny schlock movie. I like Alien AVP Requiem just because it's just another random one. But this movie is more on the serious side. You really watch it and there's like it takes you a little bit more. It's more of the quality that the older films had, and not more of the B styles of some of the newer movies. And it certainly doesn't have the prestige of like a Prometheus movie or the new Romulus. But overall, Alien 3, if you're doing an Alien run, it's not a terribly bad section of it. All the Alien movies and all the different xenomorphs are fascinating, to say the absolute least. And this is an alien creature that we just cannot get enough of because it feels A, so realistic and believable, and B, it's just utterly awfully terrifying. And this movie encapsulates that and adds to the lore and world. And dear God, that death of Clemens, oh man, that is just a savage ass scene. That is just such a fucking savage ass scene. And I love it because it's Xenomorph right up in your face, grabs him by the head and blows his head open. It's beautiful scene. It's worth watching just for that scene alone. I'd watch Aliens 3. I think it's a good movie. I think people bitch and complain. And yes, it certainly has its downsides, but I'm sticking by the fact that I like it. Alien 3 is cool. Now, what would be really cool is if they did an alien movie similar to this, but on a colony planet where there's hundreds of colonists on some moon like we had in Romulus. That's the future. I mean, xenomorphs are going to be loved forever, so we'll clearly get to see more xenomorphs, especially the success of Romulus.